yeah, this is really cool. So after stage separation, second stage makes its way on its way to orbit, but first stage actually does a flip maneuver. So it continues to gain altitude and actually does kind of like a backflip. And then we have 3 burns that it does. So when it's doing that backflip, it does the boost back burn, which is 3 of the 9 Merlin 1 engines reigniting. And then following the boost back burn, it will do an entry burn to help slow it down as it enters back into the Earth's atmosphere. And then it comes back down and lands with just one single engine for the final landing burn.
It is the neatest thing to see in person, and it is loud. There's a big sonic boom.
Loud. Oh, yeah.
You have to even warn the local residents that it's happening.
Oh, yeah.
We want to actually share a special question with you right now. There is a young man, an 8-year-old named Parv. He contacted NASA and shared this picture with it. We want to put it up on the screen. He made a rangoli. This is a traditional decoration for Diwali made of sand, rice powder, and/or flower petals in the shape of a rocket. You see it there? There's
It's
Parv.
so beautiful.
He's got a little SpaceX
so
shirt on. You see that?
Yeah.
So they're here for the launch. They're watching. And his question to you, Jessica, is how do NASA and SpaceX achieve the pinpoint accuracy they need to launch?
Oh man, a lot of hard work to sum it up. But there's a number of things. We have to calculate, the orbital mechanics for how to get the satellite into space. But there's tons of sensors and guidance, navigation, control system on the vehicle. The vehicle is completely autonomous. So, as you know, the vehicle is moving so fast, human reaction is not quick enough to guide it. So we actually have it autonomously programmed to make sure that it does everything that we need it to do.
It's amazing, and you guys have gotten so good at it lately. So we're looking forward to that part of it. Jessica Anderson from SpaceX, thanks you so much. You're going to stick around because for the landing, we're going to have you back out, and we're going to enjoy it together.
Yes, I cannot wait. I'm so excited.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Jessica.
And now we're about T-minus 7 minutes until liftoff of Sentinel-6 Michael Freilich on a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket.
That's right. The moment is upon us. We're going to hand it over to Joshua Santora and Philip Hargrove for the countdown to launch. Guys, take it away.
Hey, thanks so much. It's been an active past few minutes, starting to hear calls of closeout and things. But before we go too far, I want to, Philip, ask you to introduce us to the teams that are on console today. So there are teams of teams really working this launch. Who do we have on board today?
You're absolutely right. So we have our international partners from the European Space Agency, or ESA, and the NASA Jet Propulsion Lab, or JPL, who have science instruments on board the spacecraft that was developed by ESA. SpaceX obviously manufactured and produced the Falcon 9 rocket, and the NASA Launch Services Program, or LSP team, has been working closely with them for the past couple of years to prepare for today. And the United States Space Force Range is responsible for public safety today.
Yes, grateful for everybody's participation. Lots of good comments made this week during briefings and reviews about just the incredible partnership and collaboration here. So I want to tell you about what's coming up through the rest of the count as we proceed towards liftoff here in just 5 minutes now. We should hear a call for RP1 full in just a second, and then we'll be looking for the strong back retract to take place in just a few seconds.
Propellant tanks are pressurizing for strong back retract.
Perfect. So what that's going to look like on your screen is up near the top of that rocket where the fairing is, just beneath the bottom edge of that fairing. You can see that on screen there very well. There's a clamp that's wrapped around the second stage of the Falcon. That clamp will expand, and then that tower, the strong back or transporter erector, will tilt back just a couple degrees in preparation for the final minutes of countdown. It will still be connected.
Retract has started.
There's that call. The retract has started. That strong back provides power, fluids, and communication for the rocket up until the time of liftoff, when it will tilt back even further away from the rocket. So keep your eyes on that. But Philip, wanted to have you tell us about the path for today's flight. The folks along the southern coast of California might get a treat if they're outside looking up to the sky.
Right. I'm definitely happy for the people out there in Southern California because, we get a million launches out here, but, if they can finally see some, especially at JPL, because it's, they're invested in this launch. So Vandenberg is really convenient for these high inclination launches. So Sentinel-6 Michael Freilich has a 66-degree inclination, which means that it's perfect for the Falcon 9 to launch south-southeast, and it's really going to kind of ride along the coast of Central and South America on its way up to that 1,300-kilometer altitude.
Yeah, very good. We just heard there Tim Dunn coming on the nets and giving his official go. So NASA is go for flight here. The last few minutes here, we're going to hear a number of calls with closing out liquid oxygen or LOX, and then we'll kind of tick down here to the final minutes where we'll hear we're commanded for final pre-launch. We'll have the automated flight termination system will be configured for launch. We'll get a final go from the launch director at around 45 seconds to go on the way to 0 there, right on time for this instantaneous window at 12:17:08 Eastern Time. That's 9:17:08 there on the ground. So, Philip, really fast here as we're waiting for the liftoff. Tell us about the rocket here. You kind of told us about the flight path, but what is this rocket capable of? There's a lot going on here.
Right, there's a lot going on, and we have some beautiful views of this Falcon 9. So you can see it's a two-stage rocket. The first stage, or the booster, goes about 2/3 of the way up, and that actually provides 1.7 million pounds of thrust, which is going to get the vehicle and the spacecraft off of the pad. The second stage, its engine is housed in that black interstage region that's just below the 5-meter fairing, and that's what's going to finally bring the spacecraft up into its orbit. And as we've discussed already, that first stage, once it separates from the second stage, is going to head on back to Vandenberg.
Awesome. So much coming up here. Post liftoff is certainly active as well. About a minute into flight, we'll hear calls for flight through max Q, or maximum aerodynamic pressure, and then we'll about 2.5. Strong record track has been completed. There you go. You can see a nice separation there between the rocket and that transporter erector. About 2.5 minutes into flight, we're expecting to see a few things happen very rapidly. We're going to see that booster separate after that first stage engine cutoff happens, and then after that separation takes place, the second stage.
Stage 2 LOX load is complete.
There's that stage 2 liquid oxygen load complete, which is great. You kind of see some of the steam coming off the vehicle. That's dealing with cryogenic fluid that's on the order of negative 330 degrees Fahrenheit. It's densified liquid oxygen mixing with the ambient temperature there, which creates that fog, that steam effect. We'll also see a lot more happening post liftoff, so stay with us. And we even have a lot very, very late into the show today. We're roughly an hour and a half of milestones past liftoff of getting into the correct orbit and confirming that we have a good, healthy spacecraft. So please stay with us. There's a ton going on, but we'll let you listen in these last minute and just enjoy the countdown.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
Launch director is go for launch and landing.
You may notice some water beginning to flood the pad here. That's very intentional. That's actually a sound suppression system that occurs to allow the sound of the vibration of the sound to actually be suppressed, and it also helps with some cooling as well.
Falcon 9 is configured for flight.
T-minus 15. 10.
9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3, 2, 1, 0. And liftoff of Sentinel-6, Michael Freilich, continuing a legacy of ocean observation and international collaboration to benefit all humanity.
M1D propulsion is nominal. M1D propulsion is nominal.
Power and telemetry nominal. Vehicle is supersonic.
So there we heard that call for max Q. We also heard vehicle is supersonic, meaning it's traveling faster than the speed of sound. A beautiful shot there from the first stage looking down towards Earth and seeing the plume there created by those 9 Merlin 1D engines. Beautiful clear skies there from Vandenberg on the ground. Able to track with that rocket as you see it on screen now. Just a reminder coming up here very quickly, we're going to hear booster or first stage engine cutoff.
Stage separation confirmed.
Booster separation is there visible on screen now. Beautiful shot. There's the backflip, as Jesse mentioned, beginning with the Falcon booster.
Stage 1 boost back burn has started.
And that second engine looks like it has lit. You can start to see the engine bell there turning an
Both
orange.
vehicles are following nominal trajectories. Fairing separation confirmed.
And there goes the fairing. That's exposed. That is Sentinel-6 Michael Freilich there on your screen. That is the satellite that has been exposed now because the fairings have been jettisoned and separated, and you just saw it there tumbling away. Some beautiful shots on the way to orbit.
And stage 1 boost back burn shut down.
So we're getting reverse angle views of that engine on screen. That's what you're seeing. This is switching between opposite sides of that second
Both
stage.
vehicles continue to follow nominal trajectories.
And that term nominal being used, we've heard that a lot during this call out. That's a very good sign. Nominal just means that everything is going according to plan within the expectation of operation for the vehicle. So we are, there, a great shot from the first stage. You can see the hypersonic grid fins there that are expanded, those honeycomb-shaped structures. As the booster begins to enter the atmosphere, those will be able to help guide and stabilize the booster to make sure that we hit that pinpoint landing like we heard that question asked. How do we ensure pinpoint landing? And those grid fins play a huge part in that. That second stage is in the middle of its first burn. This burn will last approximately 6.5 minutes. And then there will be a long coast phase today. And then we will have a very short, a relatively short second stage, second burn to put us in the correct orbit to follow that path of the Jason series, as we heard earlier. So, Philip, from a trajectory perspective, is this just kind of a moment where do the people working this mission, do they kind of just sit and wait as well here? Because obviously we're not controlling this actively. It's just the vehicle, in theory, just doing what it's programmed to do.
Right. I mean, I will say I didn't personally work this mission, so I'm not sure what my coworker who worked it for the past couple of years is thinking, but it's beautiful to watch this trajectory that we've been planning out for years. We know what the math looks like, we know what the numbers are, but actually seeing these views from the second stage is just amazing.
Yeah, very good. And we'll talk more about kind of your role and what you do as a trajectory analyst. You are, by all accounts, a rocket scientist, which is pretty cool. We will come back and chat more in a bit. Again, we'll revisit you once we get towards that second stage, second burn. But for now, I think we're ready to head back out to check in with Daryl and Jesse to hopefully enjoy
nominal trajectories.
What I would expect to be a beautiful, very noisy nominal landing of that booster. Daryl, how was launch? How did it look out there? All right, we're going to hang off. They're not quite ready yet. I'm sure they're just enjoying it. They probably got up to watch that launch, and they're probably getting positioned again. So I don't blame them.
Me neither. Yeah, they should definitely soak it in.
So that second stage Merlin vacuum engine, MVAC as we like to call it, that produces around 210,000 pounds of thrust once it's on orbit in the vacuum of space.
On entry burn has started.
All right, so call for the entry burn there. I think Daryl and Marina are ready for us. They should be there with Jesse to talk us through the landing. How was launch?
Oh my goodness!
It was incredible.
It was incredible.
That's why we're late. We're all talking at the same time. It's great. Can you tell that we were excited? We were standing there. We saw it. It was so clear we could see the separation as it was going the entire time. Jesse, I mean, isn't that
awe-inspiring?
Mind is blown.
So it's going to be landing right behind us, and we've got a view now of the actual booster coming back. It's got its grid fins out. And that's helpful. It has to use those things.
Yep, it has to help steer it as it's making its way back to land. So it's the steering mechanism.
It's really interesting that it lands right next to the launch pad. We have a little tent over top of us, so we're not going to see that first boost back burn. But we have a clear shot of it coming down onto the pad. The other thing we're waiting for, and we're making sure that we keep track of, is the engine cutoff of stage 2. And we're going to call that out. Here it comes. There it is!
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Coming in at an angle and just straightening out. What do you think, Jesse? That's amazing.
Oh my goodness, I might cry right now.
This is so incredible. Every time I see this, it's just
slowing down so perfectly.
Perfect.
Just hovering. There's the sonic booms we talked about, and touchdown.
Oh my! We heard that.
Oh, that was
And Falcon 9 has landed at LZ4. Landing operators
beautiful.
proceed into 11.100 on recovery 2.
I'm a little teary-eyed
The
right now.
echo of the power to see it here in person, to feel it.
Oh, and like Jesse said, no matter if you see it or not, you always hear it, right? So that sonic boom is recognizable wherever
and
you are.
reverberating through the valley here.
I know.
Well, what'd you think, Jesse?
I have no words. That was incredible. Like, as many launches as I've seen, seeing it in person is a whole different experience.
The crowd that's with us, you can hear them cheering and everything. They're just totally like, in awe. We're so glad that we could do this and have you join us with this. Jesse Anderson from SpaceX, lead manufacturing engineer. Thanks so much for coming out here. What a moment.
So much for having me. This has been amazing. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right, well, the coast phase is about 45 minutes away, and so we don't expect any activity to report at this time. But if there is, we will let you know. And in the meantime, we'd like to tell you about the science behind the Sentinel-6 Michael Freilich mission. And we're going to get to that in a moment, but we have a moment here where we're going to sync up and simulcast with our partners from the European Space Agency. And when we do that, that's going to allow both channels, both ESA and NASA,